All right, in your math journal, please write down today's title, Constant of Proportionality. And I want you to think to yourself, what is the constant of proportionality? What does that mean? And then you'll write down this definition. It is the multiplicative relationship between two quantities. Then I want you to write down this definition. It is the value of k in the equation y equals k times x. And we might say to ourselves, how many y's per one x? That's what the constant of proportionality is asking us. So we're going to look at this first table, okay, and we're going to say for how many x's, for every one x, how many y's do we have? So the first thing you're going to do is write x over y, and I generally pick the first real part in the table instead of using bigger numbers. So I have 2 over 2. Now I want to know how many y's per one x. Okay, so I need to get a 1 on the top for the x, okay? So then you're going to say to yourself, how do I get from 2 to 1? Well, you divide by 2. So you do the same thing to the bottom. Divide by 2, and you get 1. So the constant of proportionality is that denominator, which is 1. So now let's write down this, look at this next example. So again, if you haven't written these down, pause. All right, so this one again, we're going to ask for how many, for every single x, how many y's do I have? So again, write x over y equals, I'm going to pick this first point, 3 over 1. And I want to know how much per one x, a single x. So I got to think to myself, how do I get from 3 to 1? Well, we divide by 3, so I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. And 1 divided by 3 can be written as 1/3, because that literally means 1 divided by 3. So again, the COP is that denominator. COP, constant of proportionality, is 1/3. So let's look at a third example. Oops. Okay, down here. So again, I want to know for every single x, how many y's. So again, x over y equals 3 over 4. And I need to know how much for a single x. So again, divide by 3, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then I'm going to do 4 divided by 3, which is 4 over 3, 4/3. So the constant of proportionality here is 4/3. Notice I'm not writing 1 and 4/3, because the constant of proportionality is how many y's for a single x. So let's go back up to this first one. If we're saying y equals k times x is the equation, where the constant of proportionality is the k, then we're going to write the equation y equals something times x. And in this case, it's 1. So the equation is y equals 1 times x. Down here, y equals k times x, which is y equals, the k is the constant of proportionality, 1/3, so y equals 1/3 x. That's saying for every single x, we got 1/3 of a y. And down here, we're going to have y equals 4/3 times x. So again, if we look up here, if we have 4 x's, if we put a 4 in here, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 and 4. Let's look down here, 1/3. Let's say x is 6. 6 times 1/3. Okay, so we're thinking 6 times 1/3 is going to give you 6 over 3, which is 6/3, which 6 divided by 3 is 2. So when x is 6, y is 2. Let's take a look down here. Let's say when x is 9. So that's going to be 4/3 times 9. Okay, and I can simplify that to 1 and 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So when x is 9, y is 12. So let's take a look at this one on your own. Okay, write down this table. I want you to tell me the constant of proportionality, and I want you to tell me the equation for this. So we have a constant of proportionality and equation written in your notes, and then come see Miss Wesley.